paranormal. It surrounds us. It's everywhere. Tonight, you will hear from the people who live and work within these highly active locations, all in the efforts to discover America's most haunted. With your host, ghost hunter and author, Dan Terry.
I am in West Virginia, Oak Hill, and here's where I will be speaking at. I'm the keynote speaker. Cool, huh? At 7 p.m. tonight, and then there's a ghost hunt after that. And check out this theater. Old-fashioned, incredible. They just don't make theaters like this with a balcony even. I mean, we had one in New Haven Theater. Again, old theater. But this is where I'm going to be speaking tonight. This is going to be so cool. I'll fill you in later. Still at the Paranormish and with Brandy from the Trans-Alleghany Lunatic Asylum, which is the most famous haunted place in the state. Can't deny it. And probably the only one I haven't been to yet. So, what do we got?
We've got all kinds of stuff to tell people about our tourism. We're doing a giveaway for a 2-person, 2-hour paranormal tour. I've got some equipment to familiarize people with that they don't know, what some of this is. I've got a really cool custom piece of equipment right here that one of my guys made. So,
we got to talk about this because you guys know me, dowsing rod. Okay, this is an electric dowsing rod.
Basically, yeah, hands-free dowsing rods. One of my guides, we call him, he's my Egon on staff. Super smart dude. And this basically, there is a toggle switch on the bottom to turn it on and off. And if the spirits manipulate the copper rods like they would dowsing rods, and when it touches, then this light down here will light up for you. So you can run other devices and equipment alongside this without having your hands tied up with your dowsing rods. So this is a super phenomenal, super unique piece of equipment that he has made.
So what this does is it allows the spirits to move the rod just like they would if it was in my hand, but it touches another one which sets the light off.
Yep.
So it cannot be manipulated.
Correct.
And as long as no one's bumping the table,
exactly,
it works.
Yep.
Is that cool? Okay, but you are in the most haunted place, or at least the most famous haunted place, in West Virginia, which is a crazy haunted state. What kind of stories you got from there?
Oh, I've got a little bit of everything.
Well, I'm going to video part of your discussion, but give me one good one.
One of my favorites is an apparition that was crouched down in one of the doors. I've been there 9 years now, so I get kind of acclimated to a lot of the activity. It kind of takes a lot to get my attention without me just being like, oh, hi, that was you trying to get, just like a knock or a bang. And this figure was so dark and so misshapen. It did not look like a normal shadow figure or apparition I have seen over my 9 years there. And the way it sucked itself back into the room was very unnatural. It made me sick to my stomach, just the look of it. Yeah, I mean, I don't think so. I don't know if it was just something curious. We had been filming a show that day, so I don't know if all the energy, all the electric, all the, curiosity just kind of snowballed on that last night. and it saw the opportunity while I was walking through the wards by myself, which, you know, I do quite often. I've been there 9 years, and it just, I don't know if it didn't want me to see it, and that's why it retracted or what, but it was definitely, my stomach dropped to my feet. I mean, it shook me a little bit, but I was like, yeah, I kind of don't want to walk that ward by myself for a little bit now, because it was definitely not my typical apparition, shadow figure, you know, that I'm used to just kind of being like, hey guys, how are you? This was something that gave me a whole different, you know, discomfort level.
I can imagine, yeah. Just a second, let me double check something here. Okay, so, how do people find out about coming to the Trans-Atlantic Lunatic Asylum?
The easiest way to come to get information about coming to Trans-Alleghany is to just go to our website. It is talawv.com, talawv.com. All of our tours and everything are listed on there. You can go ahead and book and reserve your overnights and your overnight tours that way. And then you also can call into our office if you need more information than what the website provides, and we are happy to help and, you know, bring more people in so they can see why we call it the most haunted and most famous building in the country. So
there's no question it's the most famous in West Virginia and probably along the east side. That, and there's a penitentiary near there, right?
Moundsville's a couple hours from us up north, but yeah, and I mean, we love, you know, working with Moundsville as well and promoting each other. But yeah, and it's definitely, you get different, they're two very different locations to investigate. I believe there are huge differences between investigating a former hospital or asylum versus a prison, a maximum security prison. You know, you have to take those approaches completely different to have a successful investigation, in my opinion, because you have two different types of spirits that, you know, housed there, so.
Get a lot more of what you saw that made you sick.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Like I said, I've always been interested in the paranormal, and when I first started at the asylum, I started as a tour guide, and I honestly went into it with the same questions that a lot of people have, and like what you touched on, Dave, about how much stuff do the TV shows fake or not fake. So my first, you know, encounter in there was during training, and I saw a shadow figure right on the very first night of training. It was a super cool experience, and at that point I kind of knew that whether this TV shows fake the stuff or not, that Trans-Alleghany is absolutely one of the most paranormal, you know, active locations in the state, if not maybe the country. We have been voted most haunted location in the country a couple times on the USA Today polls and things like that. But a little bit of background on the building itself is construction started in 1858, and it was they used German and Irish stonemasons to help construct the asylum. And so if you've ever been there, or if you ever come again or whatever, and you look at some of the stonework on the front of the building, you'll see all the chisel marks where it's actually hand-cut sandstone that they used to build that. We are actually the second largest hand-cut blue sandstone building in the world. The only one larger than us is the Kremlin in Moscow, and we are the largest in the United States. So along with our paranormal reputation of being, you know, one of the most active and haunted locations, we pride ourselves in, you know, the size of our building as well, and all those other really cool things that come with the asylum. A lot of people automatically think of the asylum itself as a hospital when you think of the paranormal events that may take place, but there is so much history on the property in general that it's very versatile. When the Civil War broke out, the construction of the asylum had already started. It came to a halt for a brief time because of the Civil War, and what was done, and the property was actually used or known as Camp Tyler, and it changed hands back and forth between the Union and the Confederate multiple times because of the access roads. It was really easy to get war supplies in and out. So we also get a lot of Civil War type activity in our building. We have had a little bit of everything, to be honest. I've almost never had anybody say they left disappointed. I have been there 9 years now, and like I said, when I started as a tour guide, and as time went, I went from being just a paranormal tour guide to a photography tour guide, and then moved up through management, where, like I said, now they've kind of got me managing a little bit of everything like we had criminally insane units, criminally insane building, but a lot of our patients may not have known what they were doing was wrong, or, you know, just, they may not even know why they landed in our asylum. So we definitely practice being extremely respectful of the spirits of the building. The tourism part, it's all the people of the world really that make us one of the most, you know, popular destination spots, especially in the state. We literally have people come from all over the world. Last year alone, we had over 20,000 daytime guests for our historic tours, and we had over 3,000 for our nighttime stuff. And the numbers are only so different because of the fact that our nighttime stuff doesn't run as frequently, so that's why daytime surpasses us a little bit. But we run year-round, and we do max out our investigations at about 40 people for a public, and that's for your benefit. We have learned that one of the major parts of running a successful tourism business is accommodating people and making it enjoyable. One of the reasons we split people up is because if you have all 40 people run to the same location in the building at the same time, you're not going to get very good evidence and things like that. So it definitely, works to our benefit and the filmings. So we were actually there when I was there when Ghost Brothers was filming. It was a 5-day filming, so I was there almost, most of the day, through the night, things like that. And I do feel like, especially if you have a set of keys to that building, it looks at you differently. You're an authority figure at that point. And some of the spirits in there aren't big fans of authority figures for obvious reasons. They didn't exactly have the best treatment, through the years. And there was neglect. That's a very tricky thing to kind of get people to understand too, is yes, there was horrible treatments. There was everything from electroshock to hydro-shock therapy, insulin shock therapy, lobotomies, a lot of really horrible treatments. And there was neglectful staff. However, it wasn't necessarily meant to be straight up, just ignore the patients and all that. The biggest problem was overcrowding and understaffing. So the building was originally meant to house 250 patients maximum, like absolute max. Every patient would have their own room, a nice place to stay, and basically it was going to get the mentally ill off the streets and out of the poorhouses, out of the jails where they were being sent or placed, and give them a nice luxurious place to spend the remainder of their life. As far as the TV shows and stuff, one of my favorite things when I started working with those was I wanted to see myself, do they fake this stuff? Do any of these these crews fake this? And Conjuring Kesha, for example, they had set up experiments, overnight experiments. They would leave, set it up, we would all leave. Nobody was in the building in between us getting back the next day. And if anybody watched that, then at one point they had baby powder up on the 4th floor, and they said, can we do this? I said, as long as you clean it up. They did a very thin, I went up and checked it because they wanted to make sure it was okay. Went up and checked it, I was like, yeah, that's perfectly fine. We came in the next day, and in Ward V on the 4th floor, it looked like it had snowed. Like the powder had just spread all the way down the hallway, and there were footprints in it. There were a couple adult-sized bare footprints, and the one that was really strange was there was like an infant-sized footprint, and that's what really blew my mind. But the neat thing about that was when we came in that next night to get ready to roll, they had went out on the floor. I was down in my little cubby where I stayed hidden unless they need me or unless I'm on camera. And they stopped rolling and came down. They said, will you come up and look at this because we can't believe this. And they had me go upstairs, and they said, I swear we did not put, I saw what they put down. They definitely did not put that much baby powder down. It was really, really wild. No wind could have pulled and drafted that much baby powder down through there. So what I really liked about that particular piece of evidence was that before they even filmed that, they came down and got me and was like, hey, what is this about, So that's just one example. Finished filming with Ghost Brothers. I'd been there 5 nights, and I think the building does get tired of me after a while. And I was going to lock up, and we have exterior doors, one of which we call the faces door, because we have stone faces that are carved into the outside of the building, also done by the German and Irish stonemasons, and they believe this helped ward evil off from the building. Now, a lot of people ask if I believe that happened, or any of us believe that that worked to keep the evil out. I don't know if it's the grotesque faces on there, or if it's just the fact of we just don't have any, but I've definitely never felt that there's anything evil in the asylum, or anything demonic for that matter. And I do believe we have disgruntled spirits, we have moody spirits, we have even some aggressive spirits. The Creeper, has anybody heard of the Creeper? And that was originally captured with Paranormal Lockdown with Nick and Katrina. And the really neat thing about that is we actually know that on the 4th floor we had a patient, a female patient, that did not have legs. So she would drag herself around on the 4th floor. So to me, that made a lot of sense that, this figure that they captured was kind of dragging itself. Another really intriguing part of that is the fact that when the fourth floor was transitioned to patient wards, it was used as rehab or dry out wards for drugs and alcohol. So, if you've ever known anybody that goes through any kind of detox or withdrawal, they may be writhing in pain, rolling around on the floor, very uncomfortable, very miserable. So that also made a lot of sense to me on why this particular spirit may be moving like that. This may be somebody that, was brought in for some kind of addiction or something, and, maybe they passed before they were clean or whatever, but that really intrigued me about that. Like I said, I've been there 9 years. It takes a lot to kind of really spook me. I can get knocks and footsteps and stuff while I'm going through there by myself, and I look at it as in, hey man, how's it going, I'm just going to go do this, I'll talk to you later type thing. I consider them all my friends. Very few things actually scare me, make me uncomfortable, kind of make me want to puke. And this particular incident was all three of those. I cut into Ward 4, which is the decrepit ward, heading towards the Faces door. And in one of the doors on the right, I noticed a very dark, solid black figure of some sort. It was not human-shaped. It was not, I don't even want to say it was child-sized, because we get a lot of what we call peekaboo shadow figures in the children's ward especially, that are maybe about this tall, kind of pop their heads out, pull them back in. This was not that at all. I would have loved for this to have been Emily or Lily or one of those child spirits that we encounter, as opposed to whatever this thing was. It was not human-shaped. I try to be very careful about how I describe this, because of the fact that I don't believe it was demonic or anything like that. Sometimes I wonder if it was some sort of cryptid, honestly, because it wasn't human-shaped, but it definitely, I think it was the shock of it that scared me more than anything. I don't necessarily think it was malice that gave me those vibes. It was just something so different, so solid, and as soon as, it's hard to describe, because I almost want to say that when I made eye contact with it, that's when it pulled itself back into that doorway, but I didn't see eyes. There wasn't anything, but I guess in my mind, that's what would have been like. When my eyes locked on it, it almost felt like it locked right back on me. And thankfully, it retreated. Honestly, if it would have come the other way, I don't know what I would have done, guys. I wouldn't be here today. There'd be a different keynote for Trans-Alleghany if that thing would have come at me, because it was the most abnormal, disgusting thing I've ever seen in my career there, honestly. It made me want to puke. My stomach dropped to my feet, and it was like, I would not walk that ward by myself for a couple months at night after that, because it had me that
It's totally
It's fine. Another person said, looks like I'm not the only one struggling with portion sizes.
too much.
So not long into this ill-begotten mystery, the internet seems to have solved it thanks to neighborhood armchair sleuths. A Ring security camera caught a man in the neighborhood cleaning out uncooked pasta from his mother's house. The man, neighbors say, is a military veteran who was cleaning out his mom's house after she passed away. They speculate that when he found all of this pasta in her home, he dumped it in the woods just because of the sheer quantity. A neighbor by the name of Keith Ross said, I feel like he was really just trying to clear out his parents' house, and they were probably stocked up from COVID. There was just so much he was probably...
See if I can get... Hey guys, again, still here at the Paranormish, West Virginia Paracon, or convention, and I want you to meet Matt and Kelsey, right? Yeah. With, what was it?
Neighbor Podcast.
Okay, yeah, I just heard your discussion. Tell people about your podcast.
You want to go?
Yeah. So Matt and I have known each other for a little while. We met through my husband, who was his best friend at the time.
Absolutely.
And now he's my best friend. We swapped. So we have a joint love of food. I went to culinary school, and I just love creating and tasting new things, and we decided we wanted to highlight local restaurants and things that most people generally wouldn't want to stop and try because they don't know how fantastic it is, because the food scene in our area is just wonderful. We have some amazing people, and I learned so many things.
Yeah, you went to culinary school, I just like to eat. So I was like, okay, yeah, I can talk. She said, let's talk about food before we talk about food. And I was like, yeah, let's do that. I'm in.
Yeah, so I love food crime. It's one of my favorite topics, and He loves lore and cryptids and horror films. And
Talking. I talk a lot, yeah. I know it doesn't seem like, because she's been doing it, but I do. Yeah.
So that's pretty much it. That's what we do. We talk about local places, and then we talk about crime.
Yeah, think of it like dinner on a murder, right? So we try some food, we talk true crime, and we try to tell a good story and have a good time. Yeah.
And the one you just told was a lady in the early 20th century.
Correct.
Who had a rough time. She gave up her job for a man who left her.
Correct.
And she was later on murdered and surprisingly had the equivalent of $500,000.
Yeah, close to it. And yeah, 100,000 from her estate, which is, again, where do you get it, right? It's because she was a teacher for 27 years. She retired in 1905. She was murdered in 1919, and her estate was valued somewhere near near $10,000 in that time, which would be about $300,000, right around there.
So who killed her and why?
So it's really odd that you ask that, because they don't know who killed her. So when I was getting ready for this episode, there are a lot of books and things like that. I try to avoid those because I don't want to tell someone else's story. I want to tell it my way. And when I was doing my own independent research on it, what I found is that apparently there is a theory around who may have killed her. There are rumors that she might have been making and distributing wine illegally, so it could be tied to that. That could also be where her fortune came from. And it's also rumored that it was possibly an elite family from the area that knew who killed her and deliberately covered it up. Because I will say that things moved very quickly with her estate, especially for the time, after she died. So the answer is we don't know. If you want more on the theories around who may be responsible for it, you can find it at the Glenville State Library, and that's exactly where I'm going to go and look. Yeah. So
how do people find your podcast?
So
Yeah, so you can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Audible, right?
Audible, yeah.
Audible, and really anywhere else you can find podcasts.
All right, yeah, we're everywhere. By the way, her name, Sarah Louisa Lynn, also known as Sis Lynn, because I don't think I gave you the name. Go look that up. It's an interesting story. And again, I know we're at a paranormal convention right now. She's more than just a ghost. She was a person with a very interesting story.
But she is considered a ghost.
Correct.
All right.
Her haunting is famous.
And he was really scared. I get there, first off, the baby had fingernails. It was scratching itself. Not intentionally, just you know how little babies are learning to move. Talking to this man, he had been the guy who lived there before them, and he committed suicide. And I'm trying to figure out why he wouldn't move on. The landlord was so cheap, they painted over the door that had the bullet hole where the bullet went through his brain and into the closet door. When we open the door, it's all jagged and you can still see the hole from the other side. So I'm talking to the ghost, trying to figure out why he's still there. Making sense. Either you don't want to cross or you're afraid to cross. Is one of those the proper answer? Okay. Experienced this before. Let's try. Jim, was you Catholic? Wow. Yeah. Pretty cool, pretty cool. Okay, so for those, I'm sure most of you know, in the old Catholic dogma, suicide's unforgivable sin. So if you commit suicide, you're going to hell no matter what. He was scared to cross over. I explained to him, we now see it as mental illness, it's a sickness, and no one's going to condemn you for this. And I don't know if he moved on or not, because these folks moved out, got a better deal on their house. This here is on the main stage. After COVID, when we started the tours of the Fox Theater again, and they loved to have me there because the ghost in that one room would only talk to me, Sam. Only talk to me. But because of COVID regulations, we couldn't use that little room because it was too small. So they put me on the main stage. I did my speech, gave out rods, had people try to use them. Check this one out.
Favorite.
Hey Nora, do you like Phantom of the Opera?
Do you like Hamilton? I'm gonna go with a no on
Don't
that
think
one.
so.
Do you like Hamilton though? Ask her if she likes Hamilton and then be done.
Hey Nora, do you
Whoa.
like Hamilton? Well, she did.
She did. You might just want to ask. Don't say hey Nora. Just say do you like Hamilton? Because I don't think you're talking to Nora.
Do you like Hamilton?
There you go. Maybe not. Maybe that means a little. A little bit.
John Bush was Adolphus Bush of Anheuser-Busch, older brother. When he came here from Germany, he studied beer making under his brother. But his brother didn't want a big conglomerate. He just wanted to be the big fish in this little pond. So his brother learned and then went to St. Louis, married the Anheuser family, and became Anheuser-Busch. John, on the other hand, was still there.
I asked if there was a ghost in the room. It went cross. It felt like magnets in my hand. It was the strangest feeling. I had to drop them and leave the room because it kind of scared me a little bit.
Ooh, see?
Yeah, it said it was a little boy.
Ray, can I go and turn the light back on?
Yeah, turn. Okay, stop. Please, thank you. Now light it back up again. You can light it back up again. Come on. There you go.
That was me with the weird back that you were here.
And this is the place where when the ghosts got to know us, they would almost do it for fun. I mean, they were always willing to play with us. In fact, when I went down there for charity events, I told them it's for an event to help keep this place going. I need you guys to have some fun. There's a woman in this room who was hanged. Another one drowned in the bathtub. One group that came in before us got nothing but screaming. All night, I mean, just every few minutes there'd be a loud scream. I'm talking to her. She is answering the questions both on his spirit box and by the K2s by making them go to red. And at one point I have to ask her, please stop making them go to red so I can ask the next question. She was really excited to answer. Okay, any of you like to speak with us, please? How about giving us a screen? Did you commit suicide in this room? Did you hang yourself in this room? I need you to tell me as clear as you can. Did somebody kill you?
Do you want help? Oh.
Somebody killed you? Is that what you're telling me? Okay, stop the meters.
My battery just died on my speaker.
Okay, flash the meters again if somebody killed you, murdered you.
Just drained the battery on my speaker.
Yeah, and they were using it to make these flash so much. Is there some way we can help you? Yeah? How can we help you? Do you have family still alive? Yeah, I can tell you need help, that you want help. Let me ask you this one. Are you the lady who died in the bathtub? Are you the lady? If you're not, if you were hung, then stop flashing the lights.
On command.
Was you killed in the bathtub? Did you die by hanging? Flash the lights if you died by hanging.
Wow, red on all.
Oh, this is fun. She needs help and I don't know how to help her.
How can we help you?
The reason they let me in is they were having to remove all the cells because it was starting to crash through the floor. It was starting to create structural issues. It was the brig off a pre-World War I Navy frigate. And when they tore the frigate apart, they brought it up and built that wing around it. But it was starting to cave in. So they had to remove it, let me do 3 investigations with the cells in and 1 with it out. The prisoners were still there. And they liked a particular type of music. I had some EMTs from the local ambulance district. 60s.
Oh, 60s.
Oh, 60s. Yeah. Come on, get something going on in the 60s. You know, the boots keep on walking.
Yeah. Is that from the 60s?
Yep, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Look at that.
You
Look
keep
at that.
saying you've got something for me. Something. I don't know the words, but these boots were made for walking, and that's just what they'll do. One of these days, these boots are gonna walk all over you.
Silence.
My bad.
You want another? You guys are a captive audience here. You want another song from the 60s? Sure. What do you see? Sure or sure?
Sugar, Johnny Cash.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I hear that train coming. It's rolling down the track.
I ain't seen the sunshine.
Whoa, that's a big hit.
I don't know
Johnny
when
Cash.
I'm stuck in Folsom Prison and time keeps dragging on. When I hear that train a-rolling, I hang my head and cry. Man.
But most of the other ones did.
Yes, most of the audience enjoyed it.
It's Folsom Prison Blues.
Yeah.
There.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Okay, what other song?
And I found out, and I'm sure you have too, as you were just saying, the more the ghost gets to know you, the more active they get around you. It's like they form a trust or a bond that they know you're not there to hurt them. This is a hotel in Mineral Springs Hotel in Alton, Illinois. A little girl was killed in the 1920s. I do have the newspaper account. She was running around the swimming pool during her birthday. The swimming pool's in the basement. Fell and hit her head. And she never left. It's still her birthday as far as she's concerned.
Yeah, what's up? Should I keep it on or?
Yeah, keep it on.
Keep it up though. Can you see that in your camera?
Yeah, because I am quite a ways back this time.
That should work pretty well, I think.
It's actually really good.
Yeah. All right. Tell me when you're ready. Of the Mineral Springs Hotel and Spa. This place is nuts, crazy haunted with this little girl named Cassandra. Cassandra, you with us? All right, thanks, sweetheart. Good to see you. This is going to happen a lot through this whole interview. We're here with Cassandra, and we are here with Brandon Klein with Gateway Paranormal.
Gateway Paranormal Team.
Gateway Paranormal Team. It's one of the newest, youngest ghost hunting groups in Missouri, especially on the east side. And I wanted to talk to a young, new ghost hunter. He's still excited about this, like I am. Brandon, how you doing?
I'm doing awesome, man. This is our home base right here at the Mineral Springs, and what better place to interview than in this pool and with Cassandra right here.
Cassandra, yeah. I gotta tell you, we came down here and he just started talking to her. K2 meter lit up immediately.
Again. You make it go up again? Don't be intimidated by Dan over here. He's cool. Trust me, he's just friendly. I will never bring anyone down here who's not friendly. So.
Thank you, Cassandra.
Awesome. Can you make it go back to 1? I'm gonna ask you one question here. Make it go to 1. You ready for your birthday party next week? They expect you're ready for it. Oh, you can do better than that. I'm giving you a birthday cake. Make it go to red. There you go.
Sandra, before I met Brandon, a couple years before, but she just loved him. Okay, I use dowsing rods. They've been used to find graves, water, and minerals, and all kinds of stuff. And where the ground's been disturbed, spirits can move the rods, answering again, yes or no questions. Now, the K2, if I remember right on this one, is by my leg. I'm actually sitting on a bench. And I don't even realize it's going off. The cameraman had to tell me because I'm concentrating on the rod.
Maybe. Would you make it darker in here now for us?
You got a blip on the K2. There's no one.
Oh! Was that you making the K2 go off?
No.
Yes, he's alright. Hey, Mr. Rollins, you're being really cool.
K2, you can shrug off phones, cell phones, whatever. Rods can be manipulated, but when they're both happening at the same time, now you're getting evidence. Mr. Rollins was tried and convicted for the murder of 2 railroad detectives and hung in that cell by order of the governor. Now this, I got a cameraman who's scared to death of ghosts when he wanted to video this. And he didn't last long.
Kinda.
Meg, did you not just say my name?
What? Did I what?
I heard something come from farther out. It sounded like you saying my name. It sounded like it came from the door or the hallway.
Say your first name?
Yeah. And I would have put money on it being you, but I didn't. You're too close.
Okay, Willie, you're doing great. I appreciate it. And I'm just trying to nail this down a little bit. So, buddy, can you tell me, is there a spirit that came here with Matt to communicate with him? Ta-da! Willie, are you still with me? Alright. That must have been just a random word that popped up for some reason. Is the female that came here with Matt?
Did that just say Matt?
I heard something similar to it, but I couldn't
When I
say.
shit my pants, you gotta help me.
No, I don't.
Like, at least get me out of here.
No. Leaving yet.
Matt, I'm sorry. The spirit, I'm Willie, I'm talking to you, brother. The spirit that came here with Matt.
That said Matt.
I didn't hear it that time. Time before, I wouldn't argue with you.
But it answered somehow when I said that. That's too coincidental that it happened twice in a row.
So he's scared. He thinks his wife's going to get mad if he brings a ghost home. We found out the ghost actually came there with him. He had bought the house from a widower. They had him and the old man and his wife had like 8 kids and 12 grandkids. They loved children. His wife just had their youngest baby, like 8 months, 9 months old. And the lady just came, because ghosts know what we're doing. They know when there's a chance to communicate, they'll try. They come to say, hey, I love the baby, I'm there. But he started panicking and wouldn't believe all of this.
I think we made this clear, but maybe I'm wrong, so let me ask again. Did you meet Matt here?
Was Matt even the one?
Okay. Would you point these rods at the person you came here with?
And when the shaking, he jumped up and ran out of the room. When I found him, he was outside the main lobby of the courthouse doing push-ups because of the adrenaline rush. So he called his wife. We went out and actually talked to the spirit, just me and him and the ghost. We figured out who she was. He called his wife and said, honey, don't get mad. I know you, but there's a ghost in our house and it came here with me and it's been there because of the kid. And she said, well, that explains a lot. She didn't care. She had her own ghost stories to tell. All right, we're in Wilson, Kansas. First time I ever used the SLS. Actually, I didn't. I was behind with the camera. Earlier in the day, I talked to this lady who owned this house. She said, we know you guys are coming. You're with the ghost group. I was actually lecturing there. She goes, come on down. I want to show you this. These long underwear, when we bought the house, there was a pair of red long johns, Union something they call them, here hanging, and my husband sold them. And when he did, everything in the house started getting moved. My fancy, there's some Polish name for like Easter eggs. They were getting thrown off, just damaging everything. So she made him go buy a new pair of long johns and hang up with them. That stopped the problem. We were videoing the long johns with the SLS.
Come on, man. Throw your arm out there for me.
That's it. Thank you.
Weird.
Can you go ahead and tell us what your name is? My name's Roth. What's your name?
Now to me, it looked like the thing was trying to put the underwear on. That's it. Thank you.
Weird.
Can you go ahead and tell us what your name is? My name's Roth. What's your name?
Now, I've seen people put those on wings, so I'll let you agree or disagree with that. I don't know much about the SLS. I just thought that one was pretty cool. Of course, knowing some history of the place always helps. One of the guys gave a really good lecture today about the history and knowing it.
When it was, I just turned into a grade school. I'm not going to tell you any of the details. I'll just say that. And I thought we had one person into their life here, but then, and that was in the last 3 years. Ice machine. It does one piece of ice.
Go over to ice and it melts.
And then it melts, and then it'll do like. And so the other story that I just heard is that there was actually another person staying here. Like I said, in the last 3 years that passed away here. Kind of didn't take his life. It wasn't, wasn't unexpected, just because of his lifestyle. So we've got that going on. Plus the fact that since 1921, think of all the students and all the activities that have gone on here. You've got all the activities in the auditorium.
All the throwdowns.
Yeah, and all the stuff in the gym. I mean, can you imagine in the gym, you've got all these athletes, and a lot of places that we investigate that have, like schools or YMCAs that have a lot of young athletes, that was their glory days. So the spirits literally have, coming back there because they're celebrating some of the best times of their lives. Particularly, and this is a great age for the building, particularly like guys that were playing ball, doing all this stuff, then they went off to war. And they may not have come back. So the last great memories they had of their hometown was on the basketball court or the football field. So we got that to think about. So like I say, we're going to break up into teams.
And I'm sorry to ask again, but I wasn't recording it yet. Are you the man who committed suicide in this building? And would you cross her rods for me also, sir, please? Are you feeling it yet? There's something in here?
It's kind of sad now.
Sad. Hey, I'm sorry, man. I don't mean to bring you down, but we're trying to identify you.
Stay.
Oh, yeah, we'll stay here for a little bit. Tell me something. And again, I'm going to ask as a yes or no question, if I could word it correctly. Was you using illegal substances or illicit bad things when you decided to do this?
Someone's walking over there.
Outside?
You hear it?
I thought it was outside.
I knew it was outside or what. It's like it's right along the wall.
We're hearing something outside, sir. Is that you? No. Is that another spirit? No. Oh, wow. Boy, it sure isn't. Is that something natural? Something from the rain or something? Okay. All right. Appreciate that. That's really nice of you to answer that way. Was you on meth?
Damn. I want to wiggle.
What's that?
I've never seen mine wiggle before like that.
Huh. Mine went to no. Did yours? Was you on heroin or fentanyl? No?
I'm also saying things in my head, so I don't know what I'm getting answers from at the moment.
How about alcohol?
Suffocate.
He'd hang himself.
Said suffocate. Yes. Is that your way of saying that you hung yourself? Hanged? Okay. Well, again, I'm sorry to bring the bad memories back. But you're still here. Let me ask you, are you afraid to cross over?
I got a question.
Both got no.
Did you have a full battery?
No.
No?
I'm
Okay.
using it most of it.
It's getting low.
Okay. All right. Well, we both got no's on that one, so you're not afraid to cross over. Is that correct? Okay.
I was thinking about mine, to be honest.
All right, it's behind me now. My neck is doing that thing again.
Bro, no.
Pointed where I'm feeling it.
You do both of them, really?
No. Neck scratch really bad.
Wrong way. We're not doing this wrong way. Let's play right at the end.
Tell you what, if you want to show me you're here and you're playing over there, why don't you push this rod around in circles like you did for her?
Package. You got 2 expansions, dude.
Oh, God, it's 3.
There, here we go.
There and there.
Oh, wow.
2 over there.
Oh, wow.
We're over here.
I'm a magnet for this stuff. I really got
We're dealing with something pretty strong here this time. You came in here with something different.
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to ask whatever's touching her to knock it off.
It's like a whole hand.
Where?
I can't. Oh, I hate that so much. It's literally like right here.
All right.
Can you figure the other room?
Knock that off now.
Well, you're ballsy, man. Not even a serial killer can you do.
It just got me in the jaw.
You know?
It was like it was running its finger along the
I
whiskers.
don't want to go over myself like that. I don't know.